Imagine a street in Budapest in the 70s, noisy bus stops and endless lines of passengers. And here it is, Ikarus, a symbol of the era which transported millions of people every day, from the Baltics to Siberia. It was recognized by the sound of the engine and by the shape that became a legend. This is not just a bus, it is a part of history that an entire generation remembers. And today, we have plunged into the story of how the Hungarian Ikarus became the most famous bus in the entire socialist world. The history of the Hungarian bus Ikarus begins in 1895 with the coachwork workshop of Imre Uri in the city of Pest, which in 1920, in the early years of the 20th century, begins the construction of bus bodies, which are installed on Ford and Mercedes-Benz chassis. After Imre's death in 1933, his sons inherited the business, who created the company Uri Brothers, which by 1939 had already built about 1,000 buses. During World War II, the Uri Brothers factory repaired Wehrmacht military equipment and built small batches of aircraft. In 1947, the pro-Soviet socialist government of Hungary nationalized the enterprise. In 1948, the former Uri Brothers company was merged with another nationalized enterprise, which was founded in 1916 by Moritz Emme and Jenny Vecchi, and was engaged in the production of cars and aircraft under the name Ikarus. And already in 1949, a single factory was created on the basis of these two enterprises, which received this famous name Ikarus. Now we know where the factory, which is engaged in the manufacture of all buses, got its heavenly name in honor of the famous hero of ancient Greek myth, Ikarus. Until 1962, the Ikarus plant had limited production capacity, but with the addition of the General Mechanical plant in the city of Székesfehérvár, the Ikarus enterprise became one of the largest bus brands in Europe. In 1951, the plant produced its first bus, the Ikarus 30, which was intended for urban transportation and had a wagon layout and a supporting base. It was equipped with a 60-horsepower diesel engine, Csepel D413. The first bus turned out to be quite successful, was economical, comfortable, with a reliable braking system and a cabin for 40 seats. In parallel with this model, the plant produced the Ikarus 60, which, unlike the 50, had a classic frame. In addition, a new 6-cylinder diesel engine with a capacity of 125 horsepower, Csepel D613, was installed on the bus. The bus could accommodate 60 passengers. The most significant for the plant was the Ikarus 55 Lux, which laid the foundation for the further success of Ikarus as one of the largest bus brands in Europe. The Ikarus 55 Lux was a 42-month intercity bus with a rear-engine layout and a load-bearing body. It was equipped with a 145-horsepower Csepel engine. The bus had a high level of comfort. In the territory of the former Soviet Union, a total of 3,762 of these buses ran routes from 1955 to the early 80s. Drivers liked them for their high reliability, comfort, and efficiency in operation. In 1965, the plant launched the Ikarus 556 city and suburban bus with a total capacity of 105 passengers. The bus was equipped with a licensed 6-cylinder inline diesel engine from MAN with a capacity of 195 horsepower. The 556th gearbox was 5-speed with synchronizers on gears from 2nd to 5th. The bus suspension was spring with pneumatic cylinders. The steering was a small power steering. In 1966, the plant began production of a connected bus, the so-called accordion, which was built on the basis of the 556th model. It had a length of 16.5 meters and an impressive capacity of 169 passengers. It worked mainly in large cities of the Soviet Union until the mid-80s. A total of 5,133 buses were purchased. The company reached the peak of its development after the launch of the 200th series of buses, which became one of the largest mass-produced. From the very beginning, this series was designed according to the modular principle, which made it possible to easily change the length of the buses and the location of the doors. The first of this series to enter production will be the Ikarus 250, an intercity 42-seater bus, equipped with a Raba MAN engine and a 5-speed gearbox. had a load-bearing body frame with an increased glazing area, air suspension on all wheels. It had voluminous luggage compartments, a spacious interior with a high ceiling, 2 meters and 4 centimeters. It was warmly received by both drivers, who noted its incredible reliability and high operational resource, and ordinary passengers who were impressed by the level of comfort and speed of movement along the route. But the most widespread and popular will be the next model, Ikarus 260, with a total capacity of 102 passengers, and which will differ from the 250th by placing the engine within the base of the bus near the rear axle. 2 years later, on the basis of the 261st model, a connected bus, an accordion Ikarus 280, with a total capacity of 168 passengers, will be manufactured. The bus was produced until 2002. A total of 60,993 buses of this model were manufactured. In addition to the production of large-scale models, the plant was engaged in the development of individual special buses, which were manufactured in separate units or small batches. Among them were the 14-meter low-floor Ikarus 290 for servicing airports, built in 1978, 23-meter 4-axle 3-section Ikarus 293, 1988, 1.5-story Ikarus 270, 1975, Intercity Ikarus 254 with increased cabin height. Over the half-century of the plant's existence, about 300,000 buses were manufactured, of which 250,000 were exported. Buses were supplied to the GDR, the USSR, Poland, Iraq, Cuba. About 700 Ikarus were exported to the USA. In addition, under special agreements, buses were supplied to countries such as Mozambique, Tanzania, Algeria, and many other African countries. Joint production was also organized in countries such as the USA, Indonesia, Canada, Cuba, and the DPRK. 150,000 buses were exported to the Soviet Union from 1966 to 1990. The average cost of a bus in 1986 was 75,000 rubles, or $83,000. The price from 1966 to 1990 increased almost 6.5 times. Payment was not always made in money. Barter was often used, where for one Ikarus they gave 20 Zhiguli, or 11 RAF minibuses. In the Soviet Union, Ikarus occupied 8% of the total bus fleet. They were used mainly on urban routes of the largest cities and for intercity connections. After the collapse of the USSR and the dissolution of the Organization of Mutual Economic Assistance, traditional sales markets disappeared. Ikarus significantly reduced production volumes, and in the early 90s, the mass production workshop in Budapest was closed. Another Budapest plant switched to small-scale production of buses on imported chassis. The largest plant in Székesfehérvár reduced production several times. In 1999, both plants became part of the Ikarus Bus Group, which became the property of the Iris Bus Holding Company created by Renault and Iveco, and continues to produce buses under the Ikarus brand. The Ikarus bus models are renamed the 400th series and the C series, and the E series is created on the basis of EAG. In October 2003, the main plant is closed. In 2006, Hungarian businessman Gábor Seles buys out 100% of the shares of Ikarus Bus. Since 2007, the production of new models C80, C83, which were developed by the Hungarian bus company ARC, begins. In December 2007, the plant is closed again due to unprofitability. However, in 2010, the persistent Gábor Seles resumed production of Ikarus, in particular such models as V134, E134, E127. The plant also continues to modernize and repair the 200, 400, and C series. Trolley buses were also produced at the plant. The most common of them are Ikarus 280T, Ikarus 412T, Ikarus 415T, Ikarus 435T. All of them were built on the basis of the corresponding Ikarus bus models. As we can see from the story of Ikarus is more like the legend of the magical phoenix bird, which is reborn from the ashes again and again. and not the tragic ancient Greek myth in which Icarus dies in the turbulent, dark waters of the sea. Or maybe we are wrong, and the story of Icarus in recent years is not a legend about the phoenix bird, but just the agony of what was once one of the largest bus factories in Europe.